Hola, bienvenidos amigos de nuevo al canal. Y estamos de vuelta con Vampyr. Y pues estamos donde nos quedamos con la misión de que tenemos que ir a Whitechapel, creo que es Whitechapel, sí. A ver, vamos a cargar la partida. Espero estén disfrutando del gameplay. La vez pasada fue bastante bueno el gameplay, la verdad. Fue bastante bien. Vamos a esperar que se cargue. Y los invito a que compartan el video también y que dejen su like. No se olviden de eso, es muy importante para seguir trayéndoles más episodios de esto y de algún otro juego. Si quieren recomendar también, eso sería bueno. Si quieren recomendar algún juego, el que sea, no importa. Haré lo posible por traerlo aquí. Y bueno, ya cargo. A ver, tenemos que ir a Whitechapel. Somos nivel 9. Ya está todo listo.
The flower is dying. It needs water.
Necesita agua. Es por aquí para no tener tanto que rodear tanto. A ver, vamos a ver el mapa. Sí, es derecho. Sí es... Oh no, Whitechapel. Whitechapel, sí es Whitechapel. Sí estaba lo correcto, sí se pronuncia. Bueno, vamos para allá. Disculpen la tardanza. Vamos a darle, a ver. Whitechapel Street. Oh, oh. Nivel 18. Está muy por debajo de ese nivel. Me va a dar una friega. Disculpen. Me va a dar una paliza. ¿Y ese amigo de ahí? Buenas tardes, no, buenas noches, señor. Pues no hay que involucrarnos. Si no nos atacan, no vamos a atacar. Y pues obvio no tenemos que mostrar poderes, si no nos van a matar, nos van a intentar atacar. Más si tienen antorchas. Ok, ya me voy. Demonios. Oye. Vamos. Oh, demonios, me equivoqué de lado. Nivel 11 es bastante cómodo. Oh, oh. Venga. Ah, odio el de la pistola. Comenzamos bien esto, A él no. Ándale así. Ahora sí. Todavía me dio, Mira, sí me dio. Bloody hell. Bien. Listo. ¿Qué es donde tengo que ir?
Whitechapel. This neighborhood is linked somehow to the kind Lady Ashbury's blackmail. First, let's find this Petrescu fellow.
Ashbury. ¿Así se pronuncia? Bueno, más piezas. Eso nos va a servir. Disgrace. ¿Qué pasó ahí? Bienvenidos al stream.
Shooting a boy in the middle of the street. Not the best thing to do.
Acabamos de comenzar. Espero lo disfruten.
You saw what happened.
Los que se van uniendo.
I'm Dr. Reed, and I'd like to ask you a few questions, if you promise me to set your gun aside.
No. Look, I'm not a violent man. I'm Benjamin Palmer, doctor. And no one can help.
No, es un hombre violento y acaba de dispararle a un muchacho. A ver. Su vida en Londres. Habla.
What can you tell me about this place?
Nothing to say, really. This is where I used to live, and this is where I live now.
To go. No family that would welcome you.
Not since the death of my wife. Albert's shit.
¿Qué más
You
tienes que
mean you
decir?
used to have a better life?
Yeah, I had a wife, a home, and a job. I even used to have a name. Now I'm just Ben. Ben the Tramp.
Ahora vamos para atrás.
Perhaps you could focus for a moment and tell me your troubles.
I'm sick, broke, and my son just stole my pills. Everything's coming up roses.
Puede ser, es una persona muy peculiar, ¿no?
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? Have you heard anything?
It's funny, I've been searching for her too. I need some pills.
La está buscando.
The woman is a phantom, if you ask me.
Really? And why is that?
The word
Es
is
un
she ain't
fantasma.
real. She's a cover for some doctor who runs an illegal dispensary for migrants.
Pregunta personal. Esta.
Whatever the boy did, I'm sure he didn't deserve a public execution.
I swear I didn't want to hit him. It's just that I'm sick in the head, you see, and the boy just faked me last nerve.
Sigue bloqueado. Entonces lo vamos a ver después. Tiene más en vida en Londres. A ver.
A
Pues
gun,
es todo.
alcohol, and a bad temper make a terrible cocktail, sir. Goodbye for now.
Vaya que sí. ¿Dónde está el cuerpo del muchacho?
Are you all right?
The bastard hit the wall next to me. I don't even know if he meant to
¿Qué
miss.
hace?
If you've been hurt,
Oh.
I can help you. I'm a doctor.
Falló.
Name's Albert. Remember it. Now bugger off.
Albert.
What happened? Did you really steal that man's medication?
Hey, I didn't do anything. It ain't me.
A ver, quizás lo confundió con otra persona. Lo hizo muy... Eligió un objetivo fácil, ¿no?
Medication and drugs are a rare commodity in East London. So you picked an easy target, didn't you?
Sod off, mister. You ain't got no clue what's going on here. Bastard was a soldier in the war, so now he's got the right to shoot me.
It's true. I'm not familiar with this part of town. Perhaps you could help.
Nueva
I
pista.
said sod off. Go find yourself another guide.
Pregunta personal. Pistas. La
Do you
enfermera.
know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? If you know anything about her, I'd appreciate it.
Never heard of her. She's pretty. I'll
Nunca.
keep an eye out.
Nunca he escuchado de ella. A ver, pues entonces nos vamos. No nos
Goodbye,
ayudó
young
mucho él.
I'll not die in some piss stinking alley reeking worse than a week old lavvy.
Pues vamos a seguir buscando. No, señora.
Good evening,
Interesante.
miss.
Good evening, sir. Are you
Goodness.
interested in a miraculous cure for this unknown and deadly epidemic?
Actually, I am.
Then you have come to the right place. The famous Swanborough cordial is all you need to help keep you in perfect health.
Oh, really? Why didn't I hear about it during my studies? I'm Jonathan Reed, by the way.
Él es Jonathan
Doctor.
Reed, el doctor.
Jonathan Reed.
Ah, my brother has spoken of your research, sir. I'm Loretta
hermano.
Swanborough, and it's always a pleasure to meet a fellow healer.
Bueno. A ver, su vida personal.
Tell me, who intrigues you most in Whitechapel?
The region itself is something to see, but I would say Camellia the mute florist who gives away her flowers.
A ver. ¿Qué piensas de los locales?
Most of them are afraid or desperate. They all come to me eventually for my remedy.
Okay.
Is there anyone I should avoid?
Cadogan Bates, without a
Cadogan
doubt.
Bates?
The bloody bastard remorselessly exploits
Bloody, por
poor
fin dijeron
migrants
bloody
as soon
bastard.
as they get here.
Ahora sí me siento en Londres. No hay nada de pregunta.
Do you know
Preguntamos
Nurse
con la
Dorothy Crane from the Penrith Hospital? I'd
doctora
like to know
Crane.
more about her.
I don't like to talk about competition.
Competition, you say?
Never met her,
Competition.
but it seems she provides some sort of medical care to the poor. The whole thing has to be some sort of scam, if you ask me.
Muy bien.
I'd
Negocio.
like to see what kind of medicine you're selling.
A ver. Creo que este nos conviene. También. Uno de esto. Vamos a llevarnos uno de cada uno. Si nos alcanza, ¿no? Muy bien, nos vamos. Eso fue bastante, nos quedamos sin nada. ¿Y este?
Good evening, Benjamin. Can I help you?
I'm afraid not, Mr. Reed.
A ver. Ah, ya lo interrogamos a él.
Alcohol and a bad temper make a terrible cocktail, sir. Goodbye for now.
Muy bien. Aquí. Es aquí. Knock, 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 knock.
What do you want? Leave me alone.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I'm looking for Nurse Dorothy Crane.
There is no Dorothy Crane here. Now goodbye.
I'm afraid this medical leaflet says the opposite, sir.
Really? Well, I'm afraid I'm going to close this door right now. Go bother someone else, Mr. Doctor.
To enter that house, I must
Mr.
discover
Doctor.
who this man really is. Maybe I could start by observing what he's up to.
No les da miedo sus ojos. Tiene bronquitis, dice esto. Investiga las acciones de Darius Petrescu. Además por aquí, no solo él.
Nobody at home.
Nadie en casa. Aquí en este investiga las acciones. Pues ¿cómo lo veo? Ahí está. Aquí. Ahí está la Dorothy. Que esta mujer nunca se lava las manos ni se cambia el
The
traje.
rich man was at the door with the pass for our medical facility. I refused him entry.
Darius, how could you know he didn't need our help?
His clothes were too finely tailored to be for Whitechapel.
Perhaps just a friend of that stray poet who is always about.
Richard Nethercott? No, not of the same cloth, this man. I suspect some machination from that journalist.
Clayton Darby. Is he still asking
Clayton
questions?
Darby.
Yes. I saw him drifting around St. Mary's Church. I swear he is tracking me just downwind.
Creo que Dorothy hace un...
I must talk to that journalist or the poet. They must know about Darius. Nearby the church, they
Ella
just
está haciendo aparte algo clandestino, aparte de lo que hace en el hospital. A lo mejor en su tiempo libre ayuda a otras personas que no pueden pagarlo de la de esta. Puede. Encuentra a Clayton. A ver, ¿tú quién eres?
Excuse me, sir. I have a few questions for you.
Another journalist? I
Otro
didn't answer the
periodista.
first one, so piss off.
I'm not a journalist, I'm a doctor.
A doctor, you say? It's quite a rare breed in this part of town.
Really?
Sí.
But still,
¿En
here
serio?
I am. Dr. Jonathan Reed, at your service.
I'm Joe Peterson to some, but Colossus Joe to most. And I don't remember asking for
Colossus
your
Joe?
service, sir.
May I ask what you do around here?
I do whatever I want, and sometimes even more.
Lo que él quiera.
Sod off.
Mala actitud.
According to you, physicians are scarce in this part of town. Why is that?
Not familiar with this neighborhood, are you? I guess your
It's
fancy
Hell's
colleagues are too
Kitchen.
afraid of being stabbed in the back.
This part of town does have quite a reputation. Would you say it's justified?
Totally. Look at me, for instance. I always look my opponent in the eye before knocking him out.
Eso es bueno saberlo.
Have you heard of a nurse named Dorothy Crane? She's a colleague of mine and is supposed to live
colega.
around here.
Dorothy Crane. Yeah, I know her. One of the few good souls who dare to help the sick around here.
Could you please tell me more about her?
She's a nice girl. Tries
Es
to
una
help the
joven amable.
migrants. I offered to give her a hand, but she said my reputation would attract too much attention.
Pues
Goodbye.
creo que es todo. El vendedor, a ver.
Welcome, sir. Please, take a browse of my wares.
I'm Dr. Reed. I would like to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind.
Doctor? Interesting. I'm Barrett Lewis.
Este tampoco
Usually
es.
I don't have time to waste with talk, but at this hour of the night I can hardly refuse.
How is business around here?
Business?
¿Cómo está el
I
negocio?
have no business. Between this racket, theft, and customers getting scared, I'm losing money every day.
I see. Sounds
Típico.
like you blame someone in particular for your situation.
It's no secret Joe Peterson spends his time harassing merchants. But with
El
me,
coloso Joe.
he's trying to put me out of business once and for all.
Oh, una pista del Joe.
As a merchant, you see Whitechapel every day. Have you noticed anything out of the ordinary recently?
Well, you mean besides the epidemic, the war, and all the usual crap? As long as I can remember, this part of town has been a bottomless pit, and no sign of the bottom yet.
Violence is increasing in the borough.
Yeah. A few nights ago, some blokes jumped me. Came out of one of the condemned workshops. Fever, madness, something like that.
Where did this happen? Why did you go there?
A closed workshop.
Ah, lo siento
nearby.
por eso,
I
sí.
worked there as an apprentice in
Le
better
lastimó el
days.
oído o algo.
Now I only go to find trinkets or tools.
La niña anda de traviesa
Too
aquí.
bad I was mugged though. There was good money in that little box of loot I lost.
Mi perrita llamada Mimi. Bueno, ¿estás
Have you been
herido?
hurt?
No, but that's only because I ran like hell. Those men were
Sabe cómo
raving
correr,
lunatics,
entonces.
I tell ya. Not even able to speak
Por eso no lo han
anymore, just
lastimado.
screaming.
Have
A
you
ver,
heard
de
of a
Dorothy
nurse
Crane.
called Dorothy Crane?
Nurse Crane. So the bitch really is a nurse then? Always thought she was just some crafty foreigner, that one.
A ver. Es una excelente enfermera, culpa a los migrantes. Él solo intenta ayudar.
Yes,
an excellent
she's a
enfermera.
nurse, and quite a good one. What did she do to gain
Vamos
such
a
notoriety?
Dorothy Crane ain't even
elevarla.
a real name. Something like Dorothea Craniu. Something
Craniu?
like that. Came to England fleeing the war, I was told.
That doesn't explain why she irritates you so much.
Your precious
La
nurse
rechazó.
Crane gives away medical supplies and prescriptions for free. I offered to
por
sell
eso.
it for a fair cut, but no. Miss Crane wanted to play the quiet saint.
Pista de la muchacha. De la
Goodbye for
enfermera.
now, Mr. Lewis.
Esa sí es una buena pista. Está pintando de que la enfermera es buena. ¿Y este loco qué?
Forgive my interruption.
Do not apologize, my son.
Es un padre.
Father Tobias Whitaker is always happy to teach mortals about the incoming Armageddon.
I am
Mortal.
Dr. Jonathan Reed, and I just have a few questions.
A scientist? You
Científico.
are much more lost than I thought, my son.
Haha. Bienvenidos al stream, amigos. Espero estén disfrutándolo. Estamos de vuelta con Vampyr.
What do you mean when you say that I am more lost than you thought?
All scientists
Que es
are
más
entangled
perdido
in
que
a world
nada.
of causes and consequences, and most of them can't see the plain truth.
Quite a judgmental opinion, if you ask me. But what do I know?
Pues siempre es la religión contra la ciencia, ¿no? Pero no hay que meternos en esos asuntos.
Answers about the Armageddon about to strike the city. Answers about the hidden truth.
Los hechos lo escucho.
Well, I suppose I can spare a few minutes listening to your so-called truth.
As a
La
doctor,
verdad.
you must be aware of the decimating epidemic. But let me tell you that this so-called Spanish flu
Spanish flu.
is the beginning of the end.
What do you mean?
Así.
The beast is finally revealing itself, corrupting the flesh and the heart of men.
Que los
With my own
vampiros.
eyes I have seen them, those minions from the abyss.
¿Cuál es su
Really?
plan?
And what would be your answer to this biblical threat?
We must fight the disease before this legion outnumbers us. But not with scalpels and microscopes. No,
What is left then?
cleansing fire.
El fuego purifica.
Tell me,
Oh,
Tobias,
purifica.
what exactly is your plan concerning the cleansing of this city?
God
Dime lo que de verdad
recognize it.
deseas.
More than once this city has risen from the ashes, hardened and purified by the flames.
Purificado por las llamas. La ciencia es nuestra única esperanza. ¿Dónde está el límite? Este es el siglo XX.
Science
Lo que diría
and
el
progress
doctor.
are our only hope against the monstrosity hidden behind this epidemic.
See, Doctor?
¿Lo ve, doctor?
Now you acknowledge the presence of evil within the city's walls. Now you
Pues-
start to admit the truth.
Oh, era la otra.
Tell me, Tobias,
A ver,
God
oh,
will recognize his own. More than
science and progress are our only hope against the monstrosity
ya no
hidden
lo puedo
behind this
cambiar.
epidemic.
See, Doctor?
era una de las otras dos.
What
Estoy
do you
más
mean
perdido de lo
when
que
you say
pensaba.
that I am more lost than you thought?
All
Quite a jump.
no.
you
Eso es atrás.
What?
as a
Oh, lo
doctor,
siento,
big-
va a repetir todo.
Really?
we must
What is...
cleanse.
Ahí está, para atrás. Pregunta personal de
Do you know
Dorothy.
Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
I don't like the liberal ideas of nurses,
Las ideas
but I
liberales.
especially abhor that Nurse Crane you mentioned.
No le agrada a la enfermera porque odia a las enfermeras. Crane.
Why do you hate Nurse Crane more than other nurses?
Before coming to London,
Antes
she
de
was a
venir a
member of
Londres,
the communist resistance in her country.
no
That's what
resistencia.
happens when you let a woman get involved in politics.
So you're not
No les
exactly a
agradan las
fan of
enfermeras.
Florence Nightingale's work. But nurses are essential for modern healthcare.
Nuns should be the only women allowed to take care of male patients. It's obvious only they have the necessary moral
Nomás
fiber.
las monjas. Pregunta personal, a ver.
Have
¿Le
you
queda
any
alguna
friends?
familia?
Any family left in these
The disciple I see as my son.
Discípulo.
He's so devoted. I sent him to preach the good word in the heart.
Esos valores creo que ya se están perdiendo, ¿no? ¿En dónde vive? Envió el especial cruce de sermones. ¿Dónde vive?
Where did you send him?
I sent Samuel to the Stonebridge Cemetery, where the pestilence and evil grows night after night.
You sent him on some preaching crusade during the epidemic.
As a true believer, Samuel will fear
La voz es muy
while he walks through the valley of the shadow.
mala. Me da sueño. Necesito gastar puntos en los poderes mentales de él.
Goodbye.
Está nivel 1 y ellos tienen nivel 5, así que no puedo encontrar Clay en el área. A ver si por aquí. Oh. A este sí lo puedo derrotar. ¿Por qué no? Oh. Creo que el garrote no me sirve mucho. Demonios. Venga. Así es. Bien. Listo. Sigamos a ver si lo encontramos por aquí, porque acá atrás no. A ver, este.
Excuse me, sir. Are you familiar with this part of town? Name's Clayton Darby. Report.
Ah, lo encontramos.
Sorry, I'm new to Whitechapel. But perhaps you could help me since you're a journalist. My name is Jonathan Reed.
Dr. Reed, the famous
Dr.
surgeon.
Reed.
I'll
Sí.
gladly help if I'm able, sir.
Su investigación en Londres.
Have
Vamos.
you any idea of the danger you face in these streets at night?
I've had to run and hide more than once from frenzied mobs.
Se tiene que esconder, correr y
Do you
esconderse.
think the flu is really responsible for this, Doctor?
Hay una explicación racional. Reacciona así. Visto.
That
Hay una explicación.
science is unable to explain the facts doesn't mean there is no rational explanation.
I confess, I share your point of view, Doctor.
Muy bien. Ningún iría a hablar sobre
Why are the newspapers keeping silent about the Spanish influenza? It's as
like
though none
influenza.
of you care.
There's a war going on. People shouldn't be demoralized by news of deadly diseases.
es criminal, es algo lógico, es un... Yo digo que es algo lógico, porque para qué de por sí...
I served in France. Our top priority must be to put an end to this butchery. This war must stop now.
Sir, streets are a battlefield too. An invisible and untold war is going on, and it must be stopped.
What is a journalist doing in this borough after sunset?
He goes where none of his colleagues would dare to go, to inform the country.
Informar al país, arriesgando su vida para revelar la verdad.
So you risk your life to reveal the truth. I saw many reporters do the same during the war.
Whitechapel is the crucible of so many untold stories and tragedies. I want people to know them.
Es un lugar muy interesante, la verdad.
But is the public interested?
Not at all, sir. And that's why I'm an independent journalist.
Es independiente. Así que no le pagan. Lo hace por amor al arte. Pregunta personal. Nada.
I heard you're investigating an underground medical dispensary in Whitechapel. What do you know about it?
Not much, I'm afraid. They are wary of strangers, and I'm not really an acquaintance with theirs. How do you care?
Es confidencial. Una enfermera que conozco corre riesgo. Preocupa de la salud del público. Me preocupa la salud pública.
Mr. Darby. I care about everything involving public health and this epidemic.
Are you sure you're not just concerned about the repercussions that a scandal involving a certain nurse Crane from the Pembroke Hospital would bring?
Without a doubt, you are a damn fine journalist, Mr. Darby. What do you know of her accomplice, a man named Darius?
I don't know much about the man. He's very cautious. Never goes out. Doesn't seem to have any friends or family.
No tienes... No tiene parientes.
He has no relatives at all?
No. Except for that strange man, a poet named Richard Nethercott, who sometimes comes by. Darius would never let him in.
Where can I find this Mr. Nethercott?
He spends most of his time lurking around Whitechapel, talking to himself or declaring verses. These days, you can usually find him behind the church.
Es donde vamos a ir ahorita.
He never goes out.
No.
Jamás sale.
A few days ago, he unexpectedly did. I followed him, but it was just a ruse to keep me away from his house.
Really?
¿En serio?
How do you know?
He went to the nearest mailbox, but just before posting his letter, he ripped it up and threw it away.
Oh, qué buena técnica. Pregunta personal, no ha salido nada. Aquí tampoco ya no hay nada. Pues creo que es todo. Tenemos que ir atrás de la iglesia.
Farewell.
Muy bien. Entonces atrás de la iglesia. Aquí encuentra a Richard. Encuentra el buzón. Y aquí... Vamos por esta dirección ya que abrimos la puerta. Y ya que limpiamos casa. Más balas. Esto se pone spooky. Buenas.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I would like to ask you a few questions.
El Dr. Reed.
Please be my guest. Although I may not be the best informant regarding this part of town, my words speak about that which the eyes cannot see.
Really?
Qué poético.
Are you an artist of some kind?
I'm a poet, sir.
Ah, sí.
Richard Nethercott.
Lo encontramos. A ver.
May I ask you a few questions about the district?
Extraordinary part of town, is it not? I'll be glad to help you, if I can.
Okay. Cerca de
I'm
Dorothy.
looking for Dorothy Crane, a nurse who lives in this vicinity.
Dorothy Crane. Oh, I love the name. The Crane of Whitechapel. Sounds
the Crane of Whitechapel.
But, sorry, no, never heard of her.
What can you tell me about an old man called Darius?
Darius Petrescu? Yes, I know him. At first, I thought he was only a small publisher. I invited him to publish my work, but his reaction was pretty clear.
Not interested in your talent?
Darius is an old political activist who takes delight in printing tracts and lampoons. Those communist activities only require mediocre writing skills.
Otra pista más. Pregunta personal.
May I ask what you're doing at this hour of night, sir? Do you live here?
Not at all.
Creo que nadie duerme en esta ciudad.
Though night talks are always preferable, if you ask me. Especially with strangers.
If you say so. But as a physician in a time of epidemic, I must caution you to avoid unnecessary exposure, sir.
Thank you, Doctor. But we both know the seeker of truth has to go boldly where the weak dare not.
But are you not afraid of the epidemic?
Oh, why should I see some equity in the Spanish flu. No flesh should be saved, say the scriptures. Good or evil, rich or poor, all are equal in the eyes of the flu.
Lo hizo todo bien poético, ¿no?
What are your thoughts on the terrible situation in this city?
Terrible, you say? No.
Es una desgracia. No, es una desgracia. El primero.
Death of so many innocents is a tragedy. But the scourge has not been all bad for the city. Oh, no, sir.
What are you talking about?
Do you remember London before the flu? Noisy, cacophonic, quiet, nowhere to be found. And now, listen to this oddly
sin ningún rincón silencioso. Es un punto de vista bastante peculiar. Silencio pacífico, en serio. Solo veo un...
Yes. The enjoyable silence of the grave.
De las tumbas.
You have a unique perspective on the situation, I must admit.
Most people fail to understand my perspective. I don't blame them. But how could I call myself a poet if I veiled my feelings?
Are you aware that your life could be in danger in this part of town?
But this is where I must be to feel the real beat of the city. I had to come, see it for myself, alone.
Tenía que venir solo. El lugar es algo peligroso.
I understand your need for solitude, but it's not safe around here.
I don't care. I don't have many friends, Doctor, and my family despises me.
En serio, qué pena.
If some misfortune came upon you, who would be here to help you?
Well, you for a start, my dear Doctor.
Es un buen comienzo. Tener un vampiro de tu lado es personal. Porque busqué inspiración en Whitechapel.
Why seek inspiration in Whitechapel?
The place is not beautiful per se, but how to explain it?
¿Cómo lo explico? A ver.
And challenging.
No lo considero un poco morboso. ¿Tiene ejemplos?
Do you not think it a little morbid?
On the contrary, sir. Whitechapel is full of life, full of beauty. Just like my dear muse, the wonderful Camellia.
What can you tell me about Camellia?
Not much. And that's the beauty of it. She can't speak, you know. She's a locked mystery who exhales kindness and sweetness.
Camellia. ¿Tienes miedo de escribir la verdad sobre ella?
Perhaps you're just afraid to find out the truth about your muse.
One day, perhaps,
your muse,
I'll ask her to come with me. But will she still be my wild flower of Whitechapel?
Su flor.
If she moves uptown.
Salvaje. No la conoces.
And have you ever tried to learn more about her? Where she lives?
¿Dónde vive? ¿Cómo sobrevive?
Whom she may know.
Maybe I prefer she remains an enigma. Reality can be so dull, don't you think?
Ah, bueno, si tú lo piensas así.
In what way exactly?
The struggle by gaslight, the barren smiles and the added hunger under the rain.
If you say so.
Such vibrant antagonism and vivid paradox. The stripped humanity raged across each street.
Vivid, of course, yes. And what about the poignant distress?
Oh yes, the poignant distress. You see what I mean, don't you? That's what I want to write about. And that's what Whitechapel is made of.
De lo que Whitechapel está hecho, no entiendo. Bueno, su vista particular. Bueno, otra pista más. Camellia ya está. Hola, señorita Camellia.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed. I'd like to ask you a few questions. I know what you're thinking. A tall stranger who meets a girl in the street at night. It reeks of the penny dreadfuls.
No he hablado nada, tú solo estás hablando.
Truly.
Ah, ¿no habla?
I know you understand what I'm saying.
Yo silencio no es porque sea muda. Ah, es muda.
Tell me about Richard Nethercott. I understand he is quite fond of you, Camellia.
Nada. Bueno, pues...
Goodbye,
then. No resolvió nada. Encontremos el buzón. Aquí. La carta de Delirious. A mi amada hija, lamento mucho no haberles escrito estos amados hijos, perdón. Estos últimos meses la situación en Londres ha sido difícil. Sé que pueden sonar egoísta y todo cuando ustedes... cuando ustedes, mis hijos míos, aún viven en un país consumido por la guerra, pero también hay una guerra aquí en Inglaterra, una guerra contra la poderosa y la pobreza e injusticia, perdón. Esto es una guerra en la que tengo intenciones de participar, pese a mi edad avanzada. Por eso les escribo hoy. No volveré a Rumania. Esto probablemente significa que no volveré a verlos antes de morir. No estén tristes, queridos míos. Ya han crecido y tienen hijos propios. Saben del sacrificio que a veces debemos aceptar para hacer el mundo un lugar mejor. Este es el que yo debo hacer ahora para sentir útil una vez más. Les deseo una larga y feliz vida. Besen a mis nietos de mi parte y recuerden que el amor de su padre trasciende incluso la distancia hasta este gélido país. Como siempre, su padre que los ama. Delirious.
The content of Darius' letter to his children could give me more leverage to enter. Darius is a bit less of a mystery now.
Un poquito menos de misterio. Let me in. Voy a entrar entonces con Delirious. No puedo hacerla. ¿El poder? No, no puedo. Delirious, abre.
Mr. Petrescu, just 1 minute, please.
You again. Go away.
Hablemos de hombre a hombre.
Wait. Stop this nonsense. I know Nurse Crane is here. Shall we speak man to man, you and I?
All right.
Hable.
Speak up.
Don't you see we're on the same side? We fight to help the poor, sick, and abandoned.
I'm nothing like you, Mr. Doctor.
Yes, you are.
Mr. Doctor.
You too believe in providing medical care without charge. You know what we have to sacrifice to make the world a better place.
I have to admit your words have conviction. All right, I'll let you see Dorothea. Don't make me regret this, though.
Muy bien. ¿Ya pudimos pasar? Excelente. Le robamos algo.
It's locked, all right.
Es locked. Mr. Delirious.
If you want to talk to Dorothea, you must go across the courtyard and take the stairs.
We've not been formally introduced. May I ask your name and occupation, sir?
I am Darius Petrescu. I'm here to keep snitches and spies away from Dorothea.
Dorothea.
And I also run this little print shop.
Su vida en Londres.
So Dorothy's real name is not Crane?
Like myself and many people in this area,
mujeres.
Dorotea is from occupied Romania. That's all you need to know.
She seems important to the community.
More than you can imagine.
Pues,
the West End does not want to hear of Whitechapel's misery.
Está ayudando gratis,
Dorotea is one of the few doing something about it.
Pregunta personal.
Do you have any family left, Mr. Petrescu?
Hijos,
Children
nietos.
or grandchildren?
No.
Quién sabe. Abandonó a mi gente durante tanto tiempo que es como si estuvieran muertos, igual de muertos que yo para ellos, supongo. Lo leí al mismo tiempo que él estaba hablando. Mis padres también nos abandonaron. Será de Inglaterra luego de la guerra.
This war won't last forever. Did you ever think of returning to your country now it's free?
No. I have taught strength and determination to my sons and daughters. I'm an old, dying man who only has memories of better times to cherish.
Don't be embarrassed, sir. If you must know, my own father disappeared many years ago, and I forgave him.
It's quite awkward to talk about our families like this, but thank you, Dr. Reed. I appreciate your trust.
Pues se nota que podemos confiar en este señor.
How did you meet Nurse Crane, Darius? Why does she trust you?
I'm her oldest friend in England. Dorotea and I share many ideas about this country and about the country we left.
You mean occupied Romania, don't you? Even if not directly, I fought against your enemies.
Really? Then perhaps you have more in common with Dorotea than meets the eye, Dr. Reed.
Es el protector de Dorotea.
I know you fought for your country when it was occupied, Darius. Tell me more about it.
Cuéntanos más, cuéntanos más.
And I know I won't see my homeland again. But I fought for Romania all my life. And I will until my last breath.
But Romania escaped the grasp of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. It's a free country again.
It is not the country I fought for. My homeland is not appeased, Doctor. And I still see a dark future ahead for my people.
En serio, qué buena visión tienes. Creo que ya es todo, ¿no?
Goodbye, Mr. Petrescu.
Por ahora es todo, lo demás está bloqueado. Era en esta, ¿no? Ya agarrando todo, ¿no? Tengo set.
Razvan, can you hear my voice?
Oh.
I need help.
Hola.
What do we have?
Esperamos verme.
Patient Razvan Vasily, high fever running on 3 days. Complaints of dizziness, muscle aches, and head pain, diagnosed with influenza.
Treatment?
Aspirin and salicin for the fever and discomfort. Liquids for dehydration, but he's having trouble keeping even water down.
¿Hay algo más que deba saber? ¿Dónde es?
Thank you, nurse. Anything else I should know?
He did lose consciousness this morning, but he's never had convulsions like these.
No ha tenido convulsiones.
He's not convulsing, he's choking. He's not getting any air. Scalp! Hand me that scalp!
What can I do, Doctor?
De realizar un torniquete.
I need to perform a tracheostomy. Short pipe. That rubber tube will do. We're going to cut a passage for air through the neck.
Yes, Doctor.
Yo no sé lo que está haciendo, pero espero ayude.
He's breathing again, but he's coughing up blood.
Internal hemorrhaging. I need to make another incision into the chest cavity to drain the fluids from the lung. Prepare another tube.
A thoracostomy? Doctor, we've nothing to fight the infection. We need an aseptic environment.
¿Qué sugieres?
Right then, Nurse Crane. What do you suggest we do?
I've no idea. I'm not the doctor.
Time is of the essence. We need to perform a thoracic drain.
Yes, doctor.
No hay otra cosa que hacer.
He's still bleeding, doctor. I'm losing his pulse.
The drain must have punctured the intercostal artery. There's too much blood.
Lo está resistiendo.
Right, doctor?
I can't see.
Tranquilo, tranquilo, tranquilo. Contrólalo, contrólalo, contrólalo. Déjame terminarlo solo, no. Debo suturar la arteria.
First, suture the artery. Find the wound. The source of the blood.
Needle and thread, doctor.
Good. The stitches are holding.
Bien.
How's he doing?
Estamos
We're
haciéndolo
losing
bien.
him. We've lost his pulse. He's dying, doctor.
Está muriendo. Mensaje cardíaco ahora mismo. A ver, mensaje cardíaco.
Cardiac massage, now.
Cardiac... What? Are you making this up as you go along?
Yo no soy doctor. Era el otro. Lo perdimos. Yo no soy doctor.
We've lost the pulse. He's gone, doctor.
Nurse, we did everything we could.
Truly? Everything you could. Is that how you'll report this in your log? Is this how the war went? Piling up one poor corpse beside the next?
Oye, tranquila, yo...
Induced seizure. I've never seen symptoms like these on the continent.
Neither have I. But the previous symptoms leading up to this attack were the same, indistinguishable from the epidemic.
No. There was something more vile in these reactions. Something primitive.
There have been numerous reports of mental breakdowns caused by the fever that accompanies the flu itself, Doctor.
Yes, but... I'd best take some samples of the blood for analysis.
A lo mejor tenía que morir. Demonios.
Test my bedside manners. I suspect it was more than intuition alone that led you to us. So, how might I be of service, Dr. Reed?
No puedo continuar con esto. Vine a ponerle fin a la extorsión.
I've come to put an end to this insufferable blackmailing, Dorothy.
Doctor, you think your warnings scare me? I've stolen and plied, blackmailed and lied, but what else am I to do? I'm all these people have.
Porque el objetivo es Lady Lost.
But why Lady Ashbury?
Porque
why
justo
her,
ella.
Of all people?
She's pristine and proper, all right. But that she-wolf in sheep's clothing murders the poor for sport. I have her where she belongs, and I'll milk her for all she's got.
No seas así, amiga.
Dr. Swansea is a sensible and honest man. He wouldn't have refused your friend's care at Pembroke.
It's easy for you to say, Doctor. These people cannot go to the police, nor to the hospital. They don't even speak English. They depend on me for everything.
So, the end justifies the means. Is that your defense?
I know you're kind, Doctor. Just another fine-heeled, silver-spooned gentleman who was given the world on a platter. You know nothing of poverty. Nothing of the shame, the hunger, the loneliness.
Pues puede que sí, puede que no.
You've convinced me of the sincerity of your actions and their noble justifications. But all the same, blackmail is a crime, and it will stop, Nurse Crane.
So, are you going to turn me over to the authorities?
Nope. Perdonar a la vista gorda, pero debe renunciar. Apropiarse, terminar con esto ahora mismo. Encantarse de todo esto. Dura decisión. A la vista gorda de todo esto, pero debe renunciar. Estoy entre estas dos.
Listen very carefully, Dorothy. You will erase from your memory everything you pretend to know about Lady Ashbury and Pembroke Hospital.
Let that rich bitch off the hook over my dead
Nurse
body.
Crane, enough. Listen as if your life depended on every word. I know you've a generous heart who gives freely to those in need, but you shall walk away from the shadier streets of your business.
I will never abandon...
Dorothy, the discussion has come to a close. Your clandestine activities in the Resistance are over. Let it go.
I'll let it
todo. Y he terminado.
Yes. All gone.
Eso, nivel de... Bueno, ciudadano disponible. Ok. Encuentra... ¿Dónde está el vampiro? ¿Qué es esto? ¿Qué pasa? ¿No se están matando? Bien. Listo. Mataron a todos los pacientes. ¿La veremos de nuevo? Esa es mi pregunta. Bueno, tendremos que seguir. Estado grave. Venga. Venga, venga. Creo que esto salió mal.
Hello, Mr. Petrescu. Hello, Dr. Reed. Come on in.
El estado del distrito es grave. Puede mejor irnos. ¿Dónde tenemos que ir ahora? ¿De regreso al hospital? Sí, de regreso al hospital. ¿Qué más tendremos que hacer? A ver. Por aquí aquí no hay pasada. Dice el ejército. Hay que informarle a Ashley.
Human blood. Whoever left these marks did so deliberately.
Kill it, boys! The bloody right!
Vamos.
Burn it, boys! Die, burning!
Bien. Estamos bien, vamos bien, vamos bien. Oh, demonios, otro más. Demonios, demonios. Por aquí, ¿no? Por aquí. Ya casi lo derrotamos. Eliminado. Ah, ese de la ballesta ya me enfadó. Venga. Bien. Se me olvida que tengo que cargar. Listo. Perfecto. Ya no queda nadie, ¿no? Al parecer no. Sigamos con nuestro camino. Hay bastantes. primero a subir de nivel porque se me olvida. ¿Dónde está esto de la mente? También cuesta, no, cuesta 500. No me... así sí me alcanza. Muy bien. Y hay que secar, vamos a... Crítico, ¿en serio? Cada noche los... de tus actos, acciones pueden mejorar o de... Eventos importantes del distrito. Mientras más vidas tomes, menos saludables se vuelven los distritos. Si el estado de salud de un distrito cae por debajo de un crítico, se sumirá en el caos. De ti depende de... si, y sin ella se volvió crítico. Así que no tengo que matar a tantos. Sí, tenía que haberla dejado ser. Ah, por si lo quieren jugar, ya saben qué no hacer. Ah, ya la tienen que dejar ser, si no... Whitechapel va a ser horrible. Oh. La agarramos en plena cena.
I would ask you to avert your eyes, sir. Or did you not know it was rude to stare?
I knew it.
Speak up, Dr. Reed. I like a man who speaks his mind.
Él confiaba en usted. Al final de cuentas usted es una asesina. Solo oculta su empatía.
Hiding your true appetites behind a facade of compassion. Bravo. Very clever indeed.
Spare me your sarcasm, Jonathan. You are but newly born in this world.
No ha faltado pedir disculpas. Después de todo somos vampiros, entonces...
We are vampires. We live by leeching the blood from weaker prey. We are Darwin's next chapter. His cynical and perhaps ultimate expression.
The situation is somewhat awkward nonetheless. I have not been observed sustaining myself for many decades. I have to say I'm a trifle embarrassed.
Anyway, I have concluded my inquiries concerning your blackmailer.
I see. Please excuse my agitated state. Under normal circumstances, I wouldn't let anyone see me in this condition.
The case is closed,
ya ve.
Your Ladyship.
Ya le hicimos
el
favor.
The person who took advantage of you has, shall we say, seen the error of her ways.
So who was it?
My lady. The blackmailer was dealt with using the utmost discretion. The culprit's identity is of no relevance.
No tiene
Thank
culpa.
you, Jonathan. That is exactly what I needed from you. You have proven your loyalty, so, as a friend, please accept this small token of my appreciation.
Thank you, my lady.
Huh.
If you have an inclination to learn more
chelines.
about vampires or your current situation, I will be glad to aid you in your quest for knowledge.
Señora mía.
Why does Dr. Swansea allow you to feed on the patients of the hospital?
Dr. Swansea is a good and compassionate man. He is trying to find a solution for our...
Nuestro hambre.
Until that happens, he is clever enough to understand that I only feed upon the dying.
A ver, conoce a su hermandad.
What do you know about this Brotherhood of St. Paul's Stole?
The Brotherhood is well known amongst London Vampire Society. As long as our kind is discreet, and as long as they do not interfere, we have come to a mutual understanding.
¿Alguien sospecha de usted?
No one suspected you of the murders.
As you well know, suspicion has recently fallen on me of killing for pleasure. But you have my word, Jonathan. I take no pleasure in taking a life.
Esperemos, si no ya nos hubiera matado nosotros.
Why did you save me in the canning factory?
I could hardly stand by and watch such a promising young blood as yourself be torn to shreds by some gutter skull.
Gutter skull?
What type of vampire is a skull?
Not a true vampire.
No es un verdadero
the deformed offspring of lesser vampires. It is a shame these creatures run wild, slaves to their baser instincts.
Ah, entonces es una versión primitiva.
William Bishop wasn't the vampire that created me then?
No, Jonathan. Whatever their strength and demeanor, skulls are the progeny of careless vampires. It cannot be the other way round.
I know this is beyond the pale.
A lo mejor puede que haya sido ella.
Really? And I thought you were gentlemen.
A la mujer no se le pregunta su edad.
I'm 27. I've been 27 for a long time now. 27 I shall remain.
Very well. But I believe there is more to this than you are saying.
A lady has to have some secrets.
Eso sí.
And who bestowed upon you this eternal youth?
My maker. He left this isle a long time ago.
Pues creo que es todo, ¿no? ¿O no? Cerca de mí.
I've been hearing a voice talking in my head.
I hear voices in my head.
Insanity. It feels like the voice of the vampire that created me.
Hush. Tell no one this. It would be unwise to talk of such things amongst British immortals. Speak no more of your maker.
Habla de tu creador. Ok. ¿Cómo podrá? ¿Usted es mi creador?
Excuse my forwardness, but are you my maker?
Me? Goodness, no. Only a foolish immortal would create a progeny without taking precaution, and I'm no fool.
Entonces fue uno fresquito.
Only the powerful immortals can mentally call to their progeny. No vampire or hunter will sleep easy, knowing that an unidentified elder is stalking the streets of London.
Okay.
A vampire?
Somos vampiros. Todos somos vampiros. We are Groot.
Such a crude word, defined by penny dreadfuls and drunken hacks. No. You are now an Ekon, and that you shall remain.
Echo.
So we are Ekons.
Ekons?
How can I identify us amongst other vampires?
How to put it? All Ekon are vampires, but all vampires are not Ekon. We are but a branch of the
Una
immortal
rama
tree.
del árbol inmortal.
Are you
Qué raro.
an Econ too?
Yes, I am. We are the closest thing to what man refers to as vampires. Forget what you think you know about us.
Entonces, ¿qué es exactamente un vampiro? Esto está mejor que Crepúsculo. Por millas. Por millas. De aquí a la luna y de regreso. 30 veces.
I don't understand. Why was I created and then left for dead?
That is a question only the one who made you can answer. It's not normal practice.
No es algo normal.
I doubt even if you find him, he will answer you, considering how cruelly he treated you.
Podría ser un error.
So me being a vampire could have been a mistake.
I very much doubt it, Jonathan. Contrary to the legends, it is not as simple to make another vampire by just biting someone.
¿En serio? Si no, todos los que hemos mordido ya se hubieran... Todos los que hemos mordido hubieran sido vampiros, incluso nuestra hermana.
The process is dangerous. It could even kill your potential progeny. If you did decide to sire an offspring, they must drink of your blood, Jonathan.
¿Beber de la sangre de ellos? Ah, es como otra película de Disney. Cerca de Londres. ¿Cuántos vampiros en Londres?
Immortals are of a rare breed, and we often tend to hide. But you may occasionally meet some of us at night.
Do you know any of them? Have you an idea of the identity of the vampire who attacked me?
You mean your maker? No, Jonathan.
Están los bajos, luego los ecos donde estamos nosotros y ella, y los vampiros. Entonces son tres razas.
To let you discover your new condition by yourself.
What do you mean?
Every now and then, you may discover an immortal in the deep of the night. But we are a rare and reclusive breed. Our progeny is almost never accidental.
Will they all be as affable as you, my lady?
I do not see why not. But remember, even the shark smiles before he bites.
That sounds like a lesson from experience.
Vampire politics are as intricate and sometimes tedious as a game of chess in a gentleman's club. I've learned from experience it is best to decline.
¿Qué pasaría si un vampiro mordiera un tiburón?
I've been away from London and England for 3 years. This isn't the city I remember.
Things have gone from bad to worse here, Jonathan. I've lived in this city for a long time, and I've never seen it like this.
¿En serio? La gripe española provocó esto.
The Spanish flu has hit London that bad.
Yes, but it's not just that. I've heard things. Things I've not heard for a very, very long time. There are whispers in the shadows. Something far worse than the Spanish flu is here in the city.
¿A qué le teme?
What is it you fear?
Fear has long since flown this form. But there is something malevolent circling us. I feel fear is merely waiting in the wings.
¿Qué nos falta preguntar? Conoció a unos cazadores de vampiros.
When I awoke, changed, I was chased and attacked by vampire hunters. Prepared and well trained.
Though I can't be certain. More than likely it was the once glorious Guard of Priwen.
¿Alguna vez glorioso?
Once glorious, but still dangerous.
Pero un peligroso.
They have seen better days, but all fanatics are dangerous. You would be wise to stay clear.
Están hablando muy cómodos al frente de un cadáver. Y se imaginan que alguien entrara.
You make them sound like some sort of cult.
Es un culto.
Society. And like all the best ones, a secret society.
Society.
I thought they were gone, but it seemed they have been recruiting.
Atrás, atrás.
I bid you farewell. For now, my lady. I must quickly analyze the blood I took from Nurse Crane's patient.
Muy bien, esa es la siguiente misión, ¿no? Vamos a hacer esto de volada para terminar el stream. Hay otras cositas que hacer. Muestra de sangre de Razvan.
Razvan Vasily was infected by Spanish flu.
La gripe
also
española,
has the highly unstable blood of the Skulls.
¿De los Skulls?
Is the London vampire epidemic transmitted through the flu? I should talk to Dr. Swansea about it.
Bueno, quiero capítulo 3, una historia de familia. Dale, Dr. Swansea. Este es el capítulo 3, ya lo empezamos, ¿no? Podemos regresar en cualquier momento y hacerlo bien. Bueno, chicos, dejaremos el episodio de hoy aquí. Si les gustó, ya saben qué hacer. Dejen su like, comenten y compartan. Y pues gracias por ver el stream. Y pues intentaré traerlo mañana también. Y en Twitch, no se olviden, también estamos haciendo A Plague Tale Innocents. Estamos avanzando muy bien en ese juego. Y pues nos vemos en el siguiente video. Hasta la próxima.